is the first real big choice this character makes, Abby, of do we turn back or does she choose justice?
We made it.
She can end up choosing justice, just like Ellie does later many times.
Choosing obsession.
Yeah.
It's a fucking city.
Yeah.
It's also important to note that, when you're acting in this, there's nothing there. You're in this blank white volume, and we're like, okay, it's snowing. You got to act like you're freezing. There's a town in the distance.
It's, it's so weird, though. Like, I never, when I, try to remember a scene or remember performing that moment, I never think of it in terms of, oh, right, we were in this gray volume. I always had, this visual of every set that was actually supposed to be there. And I think of it in those terms.
But I think that's a unique skill that only some actors have.
Really?
And other actors without the set, without the costume, they can't get into it. They can't lose themselves the way you and Troy and Ashley do.
When I did this audition, Troy was reading opposite me because he was doing all of the Abby auditions.
Sure, they'll be happy.
And
right.
That information.
he forgot all of the lines in this particular scene. And we were just making stuff up. I remember thinking that went really well.
These scenes can be very tricky to write, but they're also a lot of fun where you're just given hints of this relationship. And obviously there's some kind of triangle here between Abby, Owen, and Mel. And Abby does a very poor job of hiding her feelings.
It's not just that, though.
Should I say congrats?
When everyone else sees this, they're going to want to turn back.
But it's just interesting that,
We can convince him.
Owen, we're setting up here, he plays this moral conscience for this group. And even here, he's trying to give Abby a way out.
Count on you.
Abby, I want what you want. But not at any cost.
Not at any cost. So it's there's a line here for justice that he's not willing to cross. And she hasn't found her line yet.
Well, it's also selflessness versus selfishness, right? He now has, even with nothing else, he now has a baby he has to think about, right? Which is the same for Dina, which is the same for Jesse, which is the same for Joel. But she is only thinking about herself.
Well, one could argue she's also thinking about her father, that this is all coming out of love, the love she had for her dad, and the injustice that they all experienced in his brutal murder by Joel's hands.